The Haunting in the Wilderness, a terrifying tale of camping horror. Chapter 1, A Sinister Invitation. Scene 1. The air inside the cozy coffee shop was filled with the familiar scent of dark roast and lively chatter. Emily, Ryan, Heather, and Jake gathered around a small table, their excited voices blending seamlessly with the ambient noise. Emily sat upright in her chair, her piercing blue eyes scanning the room as she listened intently to her friends' stories. Her long, dark hair cascaded in waves around her shoulders, framing her determined expression. She couldn't help but feel a tinge of restlessness within her soul, yearning for something more than the monotony of everyday life. As if on cue, a soft buzz emanated from each of their phones resting on the table. Curiosity flickered in their eyes as they simultaneously picked up their devices, finding an anonymous message that sent shivers down their spines. Join us for an unforgettable camping trip in Pine Ridge Forest. Adventure awaits. A shared sense of exhilaration electrified the air as they frantically exchanged glances. The mystery surrounding the invitation ignited a fire within them, fueling their desire for thrilling escapades away from the confines of society. Emily's heart raced with anticipation as she studied her friends' reactions. Ryan's hazel eyes sparkled with excitement, his adventurous spirit already envisioning the adrenaline-pumping challenges that awaited them. Heather's warm brown eyes widened with curiosity and a hint of apprehension, her caring nature yearning for deeper connections with those around her. Jake leaned forward in his seat, adjusting his glasses as he contemplated the potential scientific explanations behind this mystifying invitation. Everyone turned their attention to Emily, silently acknowledging her role as the group's natural leader. With a calm yet resolute voice, she proposed embarking on this unknown adventure together, seeking solace amidst nature's embrace. Their trust in one another bound them tightly as they eagerly embraced the unknown. As they finished their coffees and exited the coffee shop, an unspoken agreement settled amongst them: they would embark on this journey into the wilderness and confront whatever lay beyond with unwavering determination. A gust of wind tugged at Emily's hair as she walked alongside her friends towards their cars parked along Main Street. The vibrant energy coursing through her veins lifted her spirits and fueled her resolve to protect those closest to her. Little did they know that this sinister invitation would take them down a treacherous path filled with unimaginable horrors lurking within Pine Ridge Forest. As they drove towards their uncertain destiny, oblivious to what awaited them, Emily couldn't help but wonder if their shared love for adventure would turn out to be a blessing or a curse. But for now, hope mingled with fear in equal measure as they eagerly anticipated a weekend that would change their lives forever, for better or worse. And so began their journey into the unknown, where secrets whispered among towering trees and darkness concealed ancient malevolence just waiting to be unleashed upon unsuspecting souls. Chapter 1, A Sinister Invitation. Scene 2. Underneath the dark canopy of Pine Ridge Forest, the group marveled at the towering trees and lush greenery that surrounded them. The air was crisp and filled with the soothing sounds of nature, a stark contrast to their bustling city lives. Emily pointed towards a secluded spot near a crystal-clear lake, her eyes shining with anticipation. "This looks perfect," she exclaimed, her voice barely containing her excitement. Ryan nodded in agreement, his hazel eyes scanning the surroundings as he took in the untamed beauty of their temporary home. With synchronized movements, they set up their tents, their hands skilled from countless camping trips before. Heather carefully hammered stakes into the ground, her petite frame displaying strength and determination beyond her size. Jake checked the ropes securing the shelter, ensuring its stability against any unforeseen gusts of wind. Sarah danced around, twirling in circles as she embraced the freedom offered by this remote location. Once camp was prepared, the group gathered around a crackling campfire, its flickering flames casting an ethereal glow on their faces. They sat on logs and boulders positioned haphazardly as makeshift seats, fully immersing themselves in nature's embrace. As night fell and darkness draped itself over Pine Ridge Forest like a velvet cloak, Heather leaned back, letting out a contented sigh. "I've missed this," she murmured softly, her voice carrying traces of nostalgia. The others nodded in agreement, savoring this momentary escape from reality. Emily stared into the mesmerizing flames, mesmerized by their dance. Their flickering light cast fleeting shadows on each face encircling the fire, their features half illuminated and shrouded in mystery. "It's moments like these that make life feel truly alive," Jake mused, adjusting his glasses with one hand while absent-mindedly tracing patterns in the dirt with his other hand. His analytical mind often searched for deeper meanings even in simple experiences. A warm breeze rustled through the leaves overhead, carrying with it a hint of pine scent that mingled harmoniously with the smoky aroma of burning wood. The stars above twinkled like scattered diamonds strewn across an obsidian canvas, nature's own celestial display. Ryan leaned forward and poked at a stick within reach of the firelight with an impish grin on his face. "Remember that time we went cliff diving in Mexico?" he asked, glancing at Emily with mischief dancing in his eyes. Emily laughed heartily at the memory, her laughter filling the crisp night air like musical notes. "How could I forget? You practically dragged me off that ledge." Her voice was laced with both amusement and affection as she playfully nudged Ryan's shoulder. The group exchanged stories late into the night, their tales intertwining with laughter and shared experiences until sleepiness finally beckoned them to their tents. As they said their goodnights and retreated into their respective shelters, they couldn't shake off the feeling of harmony that had settled over them amidst nature's symphony. An owl hooted somewhere in the distance, a haunting yet comforting sound that lulled them into peaceful slumber. Unbeknownst to them, however, unseen forces lingered just beyond their cozy campsite, spirits awakened by ancient burial grounds deep within Pine Ridge Forest. Their idyllic getaway would soon transform into a harrowing battle for survival, a battle against dark secrets hidden within shadowy depths, and only time would reveal if they possessed enough courage and resilience to overcome what lay ahead. Chapter 1, A Sinister Invitation. Scene 3. The crackling campfire cast eerie shadows that danced and flickered in the darkness, encircling the group as they huddled together. Unexplained footsteps echoed through the forest, each sound amplifying their growing unease. Emily looked around, her sharp eyes scanning the perimeter of their campsite. The whispers in the air seemed to taunt her, crawling under her skin with an unsettling presence. She tightened her grip on the flashlight, its weak beam struggling against the encompassing darkness. Ryan shifted restlessly beside her, his normally confident demeanor faltering as paranoia settled in. Heather clutched onto Jake's arm, seeking comfort and reassurance within their fragile circle of safety. The night had taken on a chilling atmosphere, shrouded in a foggy mist that swirled ominously around them. Suddenly, a shadow darted across the trees, sending a jolt of fear surging through Emily's veins. "Did you see that?" she whispered hoarsely, her voice barely audible above the haunting chorus of whispers. The others exchanged nervous glances before Ryan spoke up, his voice laced with uncertainty. "Yeah. I think we're being watched." A cold gust of wind rustled through the leaves overhead, causing them to shiver involuntarily. The temperature dropped abruptly, seeping into their bones like icy tendrils. Fear gripped them tightly as they imagined unseen eyes studying their every move. In an attempt to quell their mounting anxiety, Emily suggested performing a quick sweep of their surroundings. Each member agreed silently, feeling a collective need to confront the source of this inexplicable terror. They ventured cautiously into the woods surrounding their campsite, flashlights cutting through the dense darkness. Shadows loomed eerily around them as they treaded carefully over fallen leaves and twigs crunching beneath their feet. As they moved deeper into the forest, Sarah stumbled upon something buried beneath a thick layer of moss and decayed foliage. Jake knelt down beside her, curiosity gleaming in his intense green eyes. "What is it?" Emily asked softly, her voice betraying a hint of trepidation. Jake brushed away the debris with gentle hands until an ancient tombstone emerged from its resting place. The stone was weathered and worn, its engravings nearly illegible. Only one word remained discernible: revenge. A chill ran down Emily's spine as she read aloud what lay before them. Dread clawed at her chest as she realized they had unwittingly stumbled upon something far more sinister than they could have ever imagined. Their heartbeats thundered in their ears as they stared at one another in silent understanding. The vengeful spirits awakened by this forgotten burial ground were now seeking retribution for long ago transgressions committed against them. In that moment, time stood still as they grappled with the horrifying truth they were not alone in Pine Ridge Forest, and these malevolent entities would stop at nothing to claim their souls. Fear enveloped them like a suffocating blanket as they retreated hastily back towards their campsite. Panic etched deep lines of worry on each face, mirroring their inner turmoil. With every step closer to safety, Emily's determination hardened like steel within her chest. She knew without a doubt that if they were to survive this supernatural ordeal unscathed, they needed to confront head-on whatever this forest held within its dark embrace. But little did she know that this was just the beginning, a mere taste of the terrifying trials awaiting them in Pine Ridge Forest. And so, armed with only their determination and dwindling resolve, Emily and her friends braced themselves for what lay ahead, an unforgettable battle against forces beyond human comprehension. Chapter 2, Into the Unknown. Scene 1. The morning sun cast its golden glow through the gaps between the towering trees, creating a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow on Emily's face. She slowly opened her eyes, feeling a sense of excitement mixed with trepidation as she realized that today marked the beginning of their exploration into Pine Ridge Forest. With a slight stretch and a yawn, Emily sat up in her sleeping bag and glanced around at her friends who were also stirring to life. Ryan emerged from his tent with tousled hair, a mischievous grin already forming on his lips. Heather emerged next, rubbing her sleepy eyes and smiling warmly at Emily. "Morning everyone," Emily greeted, her voice filled with eager anticipation. "Today is our chance to really immerse ourselves in the beauty of this forest." Jake, ever the logical thinker, joined the conversation. "Absolutely. I've been reading up on Pine Ridge Forest, and its diverse ecosystem is truly fascinating. This place holds so much untouched natural wonder." Their campsite buzzed with activity as they prepared breakfast over their camp stoves. The tantalizing aroma of bacon and pancakes wafted through the air, mingling deliciously with the scent of pine needles. As they sat around the makeshift picnic table devouring their breakfast, Sarah couldn't contain her excitement. "I can't wait to explore hidden trails and stumble upon secret spots only this forest holds. Pine Ridge Forest is like a gateway to another world." Emily nodded in agreement, savoring each bite of pancake before responding. "That's exactly why we're here, to venture into the unknown and escape our ordinary lives for a while." Just as they finished their meal, a friendly-faced local guide approached their campsite. His weathered features spoke of years spent traversing these ancient woods. "Looking for some adventure?" he asked casually. Ryan perked up immediately, always eager for new experiences. "Definitely. We want to see all that Pine Ridge Forest has to offer." The guide chuckled softly before sharing his cautionary words. "Well, I hope you're ready for what lies beyond these trees. There have been tales of strange occurrences in these parts, unexplained sounds, sightings of shadowy figures." Heather's eyes widened with curiosity mixed with apprehension. "Are you saying there are supernatural forces at play here?" The guide shrugged nonchalantly. "Believe what you will, but some say old spirits still roam these lands. Just remember to show respect to nature while you're out there." Despite his warning, the group brushed off any concerns as mere superstition. Their determination remained unshaken as they thanked the guide for his insight and set off towards their first hiking trail. As they followed the narrow path deeper into Pine Ridge Forest, a sense of awe washed over them, an indescribable connection to nature's splendor surrounded them. Emily marveled at how sunlight filtered through emerald leaves overhead like shards of liquid gold raining down upon them. The gentle rustle of foliage beneath their feet provided a soothing soundtrack. They continued onward until stumbling upon an unexpected sight, a weathered stone monument peeking through layers of moss and lichen. Curiosity ignited within Jake as he ran his fingers along its rough surface while examining its intricate engravings obscured by time. "I wonder who erected this monument," he mused aloud without expecting an answer from anyone in particular. Sarah crouched down beside him and pointed at faded symbols partially visible beneath the greenery. "Look at those carvings, they seem almost otherworldly," she remarked with wide-eyed fascination. A sudden breeze swept through the clearing, causing nearby leaves to quiver in response. The atmosphere seemed charged with an unexplainable energy that sent shivers down Emily's spine. Awareness settled amongst them that something mysterious lurked within this forest, something beyond human comprehension, and yet it only fueled their desire for adventure even more. In that moment, none of them could have anticipated what lay ahead, the chilling encounters and relentless tests that awaited them just beyond this deceptive calmness in Pine Ridge Forest. But for now, they paused briefly to appreciate this serene moment, the calm before an impending storm, and silently vowed to make memories that would last a lifetime during their time in this magnificent wilderness. Chapter 2, Into the Unknown. Scene 2. The narrow hiking trail wound its way through a dense thicket of trees, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers in an attempt to hinder the group's progress. Sunlight filtered through the dense canopy above, casting ethereal rays that danced upon the forest floor. Emily led the way, her footsteps soft and deliberate as she stepped over fallen leaves and moss-covered rocks. The air was thick with anticipation, a palpable tension building among them after encountering the ancient stone monument. Jake's analytical mind was working overtime as he examined every detail of the mysterious structure. His fingers traced along the faded carvings, delicately brushing away clusters of moss to reveal hidden symbols beneath. "There's something almost otherworldly about these markings," he murmured, his voice barely audible above the whispering breeze. Sarah crouched down beside him, her vibrant green eyes wide with curiosity. She reached out a hand and lightly grazed her fingertips against one of the weathered engravings. "It's like they hold centuries worth of secrets," she whispered, a sense of awe coloring her voice. As they contemplated the significance of this ancient monument, an ominous mist began to descend upon them, creeping through the gaps in the trees and enveloping their surroundings with an eerie atmosphere. The mist clung to their skin like cold tendrils, sending shivers down their spines. Tension crackled in the air as Emily glanced at her friends, their expressions mirroring her own unease. Uncertainty hung heavy around them like a tangible presence. Ryan's hazel eyes darted between the shifting shadows, his muscles tense and ready for any threat that might emerge from within. "Does anyone else feel like we're being watched?" he asked in hushed tones, breaking the silence that had settled upon them. Heather instinctively reached out and took Ryan's hand in hers, seeking comfort and reassurance amidst the growing unease. Her warm touch provided a small anchor amid the rising tide of fear that threatened to overwhelm them. Without warning, a sudden gust of wind roared through the trees, extinguishing their campfire in an instant. Darkness descended upon their little corner of Pine Ridge Forest, a darkness filled with unseen dangers lurking just beyond their line of sight. Whispering voices echoed all around them, faint at first but gradually growing louder and more insistent. Unseen hands tugged at their clothes with ghostly caresses that sent icy chills down their spines. Fear etched itself onto each face as Ryan caught sight of fleeting shadowy figures darting between trees in their peripheral vision. Panic welled up within him as he realized they were not alone in this haunted realm. Emily's instincts kicked into overdrive as she searched desperately for a means to protect themselves against these malevolent entities. Her eyes landed on a fallen branch lying nearby, rough and sturdy. It seemed to offer some semblance of security against an unknown threat. She snatched up the branch and held it firmly in her hands, her knuckles turning white with determination. With a silent nod exchanged among her friends, they formed a tight circle around Emily, standing shoulder to shoulder in unity against whatever horrors awaited them. With bated breath and hearts pounding in unison, they braced themselves for what lay ahead, unsure if their makeshift weapons would be enough to fend off these vengeful spirits or if they would find a way out of this terrifying ordeal alive. But for now, there was only darkness, whispers on the wind, and an overwhelming sense that stepping deeper into Pine Ridge Forest had brought them face to face with powers beyond human comprehension. Chapter 2, Into the Unknown. Scene 3. Darkness enveloped Emily and her friends as they stood in a tight circle, their hearts pounding with fearful anticipation. The whispering voices grew louder, echoing through the trees as an unseen presence taunted them from the shadows. Emily tightened her grip on the rough branch she had picked up earlier, its sturdy weight providing some semblance of security against the unknown. Her knuckles turned white as she prepared herself for whatever horrors lay before them. Ryan peered into the darkness, his hazel eyes scanning the surrounding trees for any signs of movement. Small beads of sweat dotted his forehead as he clenched his jaw, determination etched onto his face. Heather clung to Jake's arm, seeking solace and strength amidst the growing despair. She squeezed his hand tightly, silently conveying her fear and trust in him to protect her. A sudden gust of wind rustled through the leaves overhead, causing the group to flinch in unison. The sound seemed almost mocking, a chilling reminder that they were not alone in this haunted realm. As if sensing their vulnerability, the whispers intensified and took on an eerie harmony, a malevolent chorus celebrating their torment. Shadows danced menacingly around them, their elongated forms twisting and contorting like sinister specters. Sarah bit her lip nervously, her vibrant green eyes darting back and forth between the shifting shapes. "We can't let them break us," she muttered under her breath, her voice tinged with determination. Unseen hands continued to tug at their clothes, phantom fingers grazing their skin with icy caresses that sent shivers down their spines. Fear threatened to consume them as they struggled to maintain their composure. Every instinct urged Emily to run, to flee from this encroaching darkness, but she knew deep down that running would only invite further chaos. They needed to stand united against these vengeful spirits and find a way to break free from their clutches. With a steadfast resolve, Emily mustered all her courage and raised the branch high into the air. A surge of adrenaline coursed through her veins as she lunged forward, striking at an unseen presence with all her might. The forest responded to her defiant act. A deafening silence descended upon Pine Ridge Forest as if nature itself held its breath. The shadows retreated momentarily, flickering uncertainly as if caught off guard by Emily's defiance. In that brief pause, Emily locked eyes with each of her friends, communicating a silent understanding and shared determination. They were in this together, bound by an unbreakable bond forged through countless adventures. No longer paralyzed by fear, Ryan stepped forward beside Emily, his own makeshift weapon ready for action. Heather followed suit, finding strength within herself as she stood taller in unity with her friends. Jake's analytical mind kicked into overdrive, calculating strategies and analyzing patterns in this supernatural chaos unfolding before them. He saw opportunities where others saw obstacles, a glimmer of hope amidst overwhelming darkness. Together, they formed a wall of unwavering resilience, an impenetrable barrier against these relentless entities lurking within Pine Ridge Forest. With every swing of their branches and every shout of defiance that echoed through the trees, they defied fate itself. The battle raged on, the clash between human willpower and spectral vengeance illuminating both the physical surroundings and the depths of their souls. Each strike was met with retaliation, an onslaught of ghostly whispers intensifying in volume and malevolence. But Emily and her friends refused to yield. They fought back with everything they had, pushing through exhaustion and pain, fueled by an indomitable spirit burning within each one of them. Nothing would break their resolve, not even these vengeful apparitions born from ancient sorrow. Time lost all meaning within this dark realm as they tirelessly defended themselves against the supernatural onslaught. Their arms ached with exertion, but still they pressed forward, each swing more ferocious than the last, propelling them closer to victory or doom. And so they battled, forging a path through this haunting nightmare one step at a time, knowing that survival relied not only on physical prowess but also on unwavering friendship and sheer determination to confront whatever darkness awaited them in Pine Ridge Forest. Chapter 3, Whispers in the Dark. Scene 1. The crackling campfire cast a warm glow over Emily and her friends, providing a small bubble of respite amid the encroaching darkness. Their tired faces reflected flickering light as they huddled close together, seeking solace in camaraderie. Emily's brows furrowed slightly as she surveyed her companions. The once bright spark of adventure that had ignited their spirits now seemed tempered with unease and uncertainty. Each member wore an expression tainted by the strange occurrences that had plagued them since entering Pine Ridge Forest. Ryan broke the silence, his voice tinged with a hint of anxiety. Have any of you noticed how everything feels off? The whispers in the wind, the shadows that seem to follow us, none of it feels natural. Heather nodded, her eyes darting nervously between her friends. Yes, I can't shake this feeling that we're being watched, she admitted, her voice low and filled with apprehension. Jake's analytical mind kicked into gear, attempting to rationalize their fears. It could be our minds playing tricks on us, he suggested, trying to inject a note of calm into their fragile atmosphere. The human brain seeks patterns even where there may be none. Sarah shivered involuntarily, rubbing her arms for comfort. But what if there's something more tangible at play here? What if these whispers and shadows are real? Emily's gaze shifted from one face to another, sensing the growing divide within the group, a creeping paranoia that threatened to unravel their bond. She knew they needed to address these concerns head-on before fear tore them apart. Listen, Emily began softly but firmly, her voice cutting through the crackling sounds of the fire. We can't let fear consume us. We've faced challenges before. Remember when we climbed that treacherous mountain or navigated those underground caves? We conquered our fears then, and we will conquer them now. Mark leaned forward, his eyes glinting with determination. Emily's right, we've always come out stronger because we have each other's backs. We need to trust in our friendship and rely on one another to face whatever lies ahead. A sense of relief washed over Emily as she saw her friends slowly nodding in agreement, their expressions shifting from doubt to resolve. It was in moments like this, the shared understanding and unwavering support, that their collective strength emerged. With renewed determination pulsing through their veins, Emily and her friends made a pact to confront the horrors of Pine Ridge Forest together, relying on each other's presence and unwavering courage. As they extinguished the campfire and prepared for another restless night under its watchful stars, a palpable sense of unity settled upon them like a comforting embrace amidst the encroaching darkness. Little did they know that beyond this flickering light lay a myriad of whispered secrets waiting to be unveiled, a twisted maze of trails leading deeper into Pine Ridge Forest's heart. And so they steeled themselves for what lay ahead, the blood-curdling whispers in the dark that would test not only their resilience but also their unbreakable bond. In this haunted wilderness, where truth mingled with illusion and shadows danced with malicious intent, Emily and her friends braced themselves for an ever-escalating battle against spectral forces driven by ancient vengeance. Together, they stood ready to face whatever horrors awaited them, united in purpose, strength fortified by friendship, an unyielding pillar poised against an unfathomable darkness lurking just beyond their line of sight. Chapter 3, Whispers in the Dark. Scene 2. As Emily and her friends ventured deeper into Pine Ridge Forest, they found themselves immersed in an otherworldly glen. The air was thick with a dense fog that wound its way through the gnarled trees, curling around their ankles like ghostly tendrils. The once vibrant foliage now appeared muted and lifeless, as if drained of all vitality by the spectral forces that enveloped them. Emily's steps grew cautious, each one crunching softly on the forest floor, echoing through the stillness. Ghostly moans drifted through the mist, sending a shiver down Emily's spine. Each whisper slithered into her ears like a serpent, filling her mind with doubt and fear. Her companions moved silently beside her, their faces etched with trepidation. Shadows cast by twisted branches danced menacingly on the forest floor, distorting reality and playing tricks on their senses. False shapes flickered within their peripheral vision, a glimpse of movement here, a fleeting figure there, each disappearing as quickly as it had materialized. Ryan reached out a hand to steady himself against a moss-covered tree trunk but recoiled at its icy touch. Something doesn't feel right, he murmured under his breath, his voice barely audible above the eerie chorus of whispers. Heather nodded in agreement, her eyes darting nervously between the shifting shadows. It's like the forest itself is alive, watching us, waiting for us to make a misstep. Emily tightened her grip on the branch she held tightly in her hand, drawing strength from its rough texture against her skin. She knew they had to press forward despite the growing unease that threatened to overwhelm them. As they continued through this haunting glen, Emily noticed Mark stumble over a hidden root concealed beneath fallen leaves. Without hesitation, she rushed to his side and extended a helping hand. "Careful there," she said with concern lacing her words. "We can't afford any injuries in a place like this." Mark gave her a grateful smile before brushing off his dirt-streaked palms. "Thanks, Em," he replied, his voice laden with gratitude. In that moment of vulnerability and shared support, their bond strengthened, a testament to their unwavering friendship amidst these dire circumstances. As they pressed deeper into this mysterious glen, short-lived encounters with spectral figures became more frequent. Shadows shifted and danced eerily around them as if toying with their sanity. Each member of the group felt an unyielding gaze upon them, one filled with malice and ancient vengeance. Emily's heart pounded within her chest as she braced herself for what lay ahead, an impending confrontation with these vengeful spirits that haunted Pine Ridge Forest. With every step forward, Emily drew closer to unlocking the secrets buried within these haunted woods, a truth so chilling it would forever alter their perception of reality. But for now, in this ethereal glen consumed by whispers and shadows, Emily and her friends stood united against an unseen foe, forever bound together by friendship's unbreakable spirit as they faced whatever darkness awaited them next. Note: this is just a single scene from Chapter 3 based on the scene plan provided. Chapter 3, Whispers in the Dark. Scene 3. Emily's heart thundered in her chest as she and her friends sprinted through the dense undergrowth of Pine Ridge Forest. Their footsteps pounded against the forest floor, each one muffled by a thick layer of fallen leaves. Shadows danced around them, their elongated forms stretching out like grasping fingers. As they raced forward, Emily stole a glance over her shoulder and caught sight of a spectral figure emerging from behind a cluster of gnarled trees. Its figure was shrouded in darkness, its eyes flashing with malevolent intent. Fear surged through Emily's veins, but she pushed it aside, focusing on the task at hand. She couldn't let herself be consumed by terror, not when the lives of her friends depended on her courage. With every breath burning in her lungs, Emily forced her legs to move faster. Her mind became singularly focused, darting between trees, dodging fallen branches. Nothing else mattered except outrunning this relentless spirit. Ryan ran beside her, his determination etched onto his face. He glanced at Emily, his hazel eyes reflecting both fear and unwavering resolve. In that momentary exchange, they shared an unspoken understanding, a bond forged through countless adventures that propelled them forward. Through the darting shadows and whispering winds, Emily could hear Heather's voice urging her onward. "Don't look back. Keep running." Heather's voice was filled with urgency and determination, igniting a fire within Emily's soul. The pursuing spirit grew closer with each passing second. A cold breath brushed against the nape of Emily's neck, sending a shiver down her spine. But she refused to falter. Suddenly, a low-hanging branch materialized directly in front of Emily. With lightning reflexes, she ducked beneath it just in time to avoid a collision that would have sent her sprawling to the ground. Heart pounding in her ears, Emily glanced back at Ryan, who had not been so fortunate. He stumbled into the path of the branch but managed to sidestep it at the last possible moment. His cheek scraped against rough bark as he narrowly avoided injury. In that brief moment of vulnerability, Emily reached out instinctively and grabbed Ryan's arm, pulling him back into stride beside her. They locked eyes for an instant, a silent communication conveying their shared determination to survive this haunting ordeal together. As they continued their desperate flight through Pine Ridge Forest, their surroundings transformed. An ethereal mist enveloped them. The air grew thick with anticipation, as if nature itself held its breath. Just as panic threatened to consume them, Emily spotted a faint glimmer up ahead, the flickering light of another campfire. Without hesitation, she veered towards it, hope surging within her chest like a beacon in the darkness. Their pursuer trailed close behind, a chilling presence that seemed to feed off their fear. The figure loomed closer, its ghostly form casting an ominous shadow upon their path, but still they pressed on. Finally reaching the campfire's warm glow felt like salvation itself, a safe haven amidst this supernatural nightmare. The group collapsed in exhaustion around a comforting crackle of flames dancing in rhythmic cadence. Emily allowed herself a momentary reprieve, a respite from the relentless pursuit that had gripped their every step moments before. But she knew the horror lurking within Pine Ridge Forest remained unforgiving, and they couldn't afford complacency for long. Gasping for breath and hearts pounding wildly within their chests, they huddled together with renewed determination radiating from each member to face whatever terrors awaited them next. Chapter 4, Unveiling the Past. Scene 1. The crackling of the campfire filled the air as Emily and her friends huddled together, their faces painted in shifting hues of warm orange and dancing shadows. The flickering light cast an ethereal glow upon their features, emphasizing the anticipation etched into their expressions. Emily's hands trembled slightly as she clutched a worn notebook tightly against her chest. Its pages were yellowed with age, its binding frayed from years of neglect. This diary held the key to unlocking the dark secrets of Pine Ridge Forest, and each member of the group leaned in closer with rapt attention. Heather glanced at Emily, her eyes shimmering with a mix of curiosity and unease. "What have you found, Em?" she asked softly, reaching out to gently brush her fingers against the tattered cover. Emily took a deep breath, steadying herself before opening the diary to reveal its secrets. The pages crackled delicately beneath her touch, a symphony of long-forgotten voices yearning to be heard. "The author of this diary was a local resident named Anna," Emily began, her voice steady but tinged with a sense of foreboding. "She lived on these very grounds over a century ago." Ryan leaned forward, his eyes searching for answers within the faded ink. "So what does it say? What happened here?" Emily's gaze briefly met Ryan's, each sharing an unspoken understanding that they were about to delve into something far more haunting than they had ever anticipated. "The diary speaks of a tragic event that occurred on this land," Emily continued, her voice barely above a whisper. Anna's family was brutally murdered by an unknown assailant." Silence hung heavily in the air as each member processed this revelation, a chilling realization that they were standing upon ground stained with bloodshed. Jake leaned forward, his analytical mind working overtime as he pieced together the information. Could this be why the spirits are so vengeful? Are they seeking justice for their untimely deaths? Emily nodded slowly, her eyes meeting Jake's in acknowledgement. "It seems likely. These spirits have been trapped here all these years, their anger festering until it consumed them entirely." Sarah shivered involuntarily, wrapping her arms tight around herself as if seeking solace from the cold tendrils of history that wrapped around them. "So, what do we do now?" A solemn determination settled over Emily's expression as she closed the diary with care, an emotional weight lifted off her shoulders even as uncertainty loomed before them. "We must find a way to appease these restless spirits, to help bring peace not only to them but also to ourselves." As the group absorbed this newfound knowledge, each contemplating their role in unraveling Pine Ridge Forest's dark past, they shared a brief moment of connection amidst rising tensions. It was in these small details, the creases lining their brows or the gentle squeeze of a hand, that their bond strengthened further. But little did they know this revelation was only the beginning, an invitation into a realm where whispers grew louder and shadows tangled deeper within their souls. With grim determination etched upon their faces and secrets buried within their hearts, Emily and her friends prepared themselves for the battles yet to come, inching closer towards salvation amidst twisted roots and haunted memories. Note: this scene focuses on providing background information about Pine Ridge Forest's dark history through Emily sharing discoveries from Anna's diary. It sets up tension and reveals how it affects each character emotionally without going into extreme levels of emotion and intensity. Chapter 4, Unveiling the Past. Scene 2. Navigating through a labyrinth of twisted trees and overgrown foliage, Emily and her friends pressed deeper into Pine Ridge Forest, a solemn determination etched into their features. The air grew heavy with anticipation as they approached a dilapidated cabin hidden amidst the encroaching wilderness, an eerie silence enveloping its decaying walls. Emily's hand brushed lightly against the rough surface of the cabin's weathered door, a hesitant touch that belied her eagerness to uncover the secrets that lay within. With a creaking protest, the door swung open, revealing a stark interior bathed in muted sunlight that filtered through broken windows. As Emily cautiously stepped inside, She could almost hear the echoes of forgotten laughter and whispered conversations, residual imprints etched into the very fabric of this forsaken place. The scent of mildew mingled with damp earth wafted through the air, tickling their nostrils with each breath. Dust particles danced in ethereal rays of light as they began their exploration, methodically scanning every nook and cranny for clues to Pine Ridge Forest's haunting past. In one corner of the room, Jake's keen eyes caught sight of an old wooden desk covered in layers of dust. Carefully, he reached out to brush away the debris, revealing a faded journal, its leather cover cracked with age. Curiosity sparked within Emily's chest as she gently opened its brittle pages, each turn accompanied by a soft rustle, a symphony of forgotten stories yearning to be remembered. The journal unfolded tales, both beautiful and tragic, fragments from lives lived long ago. Scribbled words painted vivid pictures, a portrait of a family once filled with love and joy, bound together by shared experiences. But nestled among those cherished memories were darker entries, an undercurrent of despair woven throughout these delicate pages, the author's anguish evident in every line. It was as if the weight of Pine Ridge Forest's tortured history had seeped into every fiber of their being. Mark leaned closer, his fingers tracing lightly over fragments left by ink-stained quills onto yellowed parchment. "It's like we're peering directly into their souls," he murmured softly, a metaphorical expression rooted in awe tinged with sorrow. Emily nodded empathetically, her gaze lingering on torn remnants, revealing snippets of heartfelt conversations, a patchwork tapestry woven from forgotten voices longing to be heard once more. Sarah pointed toward a faded photograph nestled within one page, the edges worn thin from repeated handling. "Look at them, they seem so happy," she remarked softly, a small detail capturing her imagination, one moment preserved forever in shades of sepia. Together, they pieced together fragments from this lost world, whispering names long since forgotten, allowing these ghosts of Pine Ridge Forest to guide their journey towards redemption. Time seemed suspended in that hollow cabin, as if past and present collided, entwining fate with each breath. But even amidst this melancholic reverie, Emily knew they were only scratching the surface. An entire forest brimming with untold horrors awaited them beyond these decaying walls. With heavy hearts yet newfound purpose, they bid farewell to that timeless sanctuary as they pressed on to face whatever darkness awaited them next, in search not only for answers but for salvation itself. Note: this scene focuses on exploring the dilapidated cabin and discovering an old journal that sheds light on Pine Ridge Forest's haunted past. It emphasizes sensory details and small character interactions that add depth to the scene. Chapter 4, Unveiling the Past. Scene 3. Night descended upon Pine Ridge Forest like a dark shroud, enveloping Emily and her friends in an eerie stillness. The once majestic trees stood as towering sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Shadows danced menacingly among them, their elongated forms flickering with malicious intent. As the group pressed on, each footstep crunching softly on the forest floor, an oppressive silence settled around them. Whispers filled the air, carried on a chilling breeze that rustled through leaves and sent shivers down their spines. Emily's heart pounded within her chest as she scanned the darkness, searching for any sign of their ethereal pursuers. She could sense their presence lingering just beyond her line of sight, watchful, patient, and hungry for revenge. Heather clutched onto Jake's arm tightly, seeking comfort amidst the encroaching fear. Their whispered exchange barely breached the silence, a shared assurance that they were not alone in this harrowing ordeal. Sarah glanced nervously at Mark beside her, his eyes darting warily from tree to tree. The vibrant redhead reached out without hesitation and intertwined her fingers with his, a small gesture that conveyed unwavering support amidst overwhelming uncertainty. Time seemed to stretch infinitely as Emily and her friends continued deeper into the heart of darkness. Each step felt heavier than before, the weight of their journey burdening their souls. Suddenly, a rustling from nearby underbrush shattered the stillness, a warning sign that sent adrenaline coursing through their veins. They froze in unison, breaths held tightly in anticipation. A figure materialized before them, a ghostly apparition trapped between worlds, its features obscured by shadow but its malevolent intent undeniable. Eyes filled with ancient rage locked onto Emily's trembling form. With a surge of instinctual bravery, Emily stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We know your pain," she spoke softly yet firmly. "But we will not be consumed by fear." The spectral figure glared at Emily, a gaze filled with twisted torment and an insatiable hunger for retribution. It floated closer, its presence suffocating, an icy chill cutting through the humid night air. In that moment of confrontation, a determination took hold within Emily and her friends, a fire burning brightly amidst encroaching darkness. They refused to surrender, to become pawns in this haunting game of vengeance. As shadows swirled around them and whispers grew louder, an onslaught of supernatural forces closing in, Emily and her friends stood tall against these vengeful entities from beyond the grave. With every ounce of bravery they could muster, they fought back, not with weapons wrought from steel or lead, but with unwavering resilience forged from friendship's unbreakable bond. And so began a battle, one fought not with physical might but with strength found within, one fought by unyielding spirits against spectral wrath, in search of survival amidst unfathomable horror. Note: this scene focuses on the confrontation between Emily and her friends and the vengeful spirits lurking within Pine Ridge Forest. It highlights their determination and bravery despite overwhelming fear. Chapter 5: Surviving the Haunting. Scene 1. The air grew thick with tension as Emily and her friends found themselves trapped within a twisted maze of towering trees in Pine Ridge Forest. The path ahead seemed to shift and contort, leading them deeper into the heart of the haunting. Murmurs of unease filled the air as shadows danced menacingly around them, looming like specters hungry for their souls. With each step they took, fear threatened to consume them. Emily's hand clenched tightly around a small pocket knife she had retrieved from her backpack, a feeble attempt at protection against the supernatural forces that surrounded them. Ryan glanced nervously at his companions, his voice barely above a whisper. "We need to stick together," he urged, his eyes flickering from one face to another, seeking reassurance amidst the encroaching darkness. Emily nodded, her gaze steady yet laced with apprehension. She felt a surge of determination welling up within her, a fierce desire to protect her friends and find a way out of this nightmarish labyrinth. She knew they couldn't afford to lose hope now. As they continued navigating through the maze-like forest, Heather stumbled upon a small silver locket lying on the ground. Intricate engravings adorned its surface, an emblem of love tainted by the haunting script. Sensing its significance, she carefully picked it up, feeling its weight in her palm. "This belonged to someone," Heather whispered solemnly, gently tracing her thumb over the intricate designs etched onto the locket's surface. Her voice trembled slightly, betraying the sorrow she felt for whoever had once cherished this precious memento. Jake stepped forward, peering closely at the locket. "Perhaps it holds a clue, a key that could lead us out of this maze," he suggested, his analytical mind already racing with possibilities. Emily's eyes narrowed as she considered Jake's words, his logical approach grounding them amidst the chaos that surrounded them. She grasped onto that glimmer of hope, the idea that there might be a way to break free from this supernatural prison. Together, they forged ahead through winding paths and tangled underbrush as their surroundings grew increasingly treacherous. Whispering voices echoed through dense foliage, taunting them with fragmented sentences that sent shivers down their spines. But amongst the anxiety and uncertainty, Mark offered a small gesture of support. He reached out to grasp Heather's hand tightly within his own, their fingers intertwining like threads, weaving strength amidst vulnerability. This simple act of unity provided solace amidst their harrowing ordeal, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, friendship could anchor them against despair. Emily drew strength from this connection, the unwavering loyalty and trust shared between her and her friends. They pressed on, with Emily leading the way, her resolve unwavering despite the palpable fear lingering in every corner of Pine Ridge Forest. They would not succumb, not while there was still a glimmer of hope burning within their hearts. As their footsteps echoed through the seemingly endless labyrinth, they embraced both fear and courage, knowing that survival relied not only on cunning but also on embracing their deepest fears head-on. And so they marched on against all odds in search of an escape from not only this physical maze but from the ghosts that haunted their very souls. Chapter 5: Surviving the Haunting. Scene 2. The air grew heavy with an oppressive atmosphere as Emily and her friends journeyed further into the heart of Pine Ridge Forest. The vengeful spirits grew increasingly aggressive, attacking them with terrifying visions and illusions designed to erode their resolve. As they stumbled through the dense underbrush, Emily's heart pounded within her chest, a steady rhythm that echoed the chaos surrounding them. Her mind swirled with vivid nightmares brought to life, shadows morphing into monstrous figures, grasping hands reaching from every direction. Ryan stumbled, his legs buckling beneath him as a vision consumed his senses, the image of a faceless figure advancing relentlessly upon him. With a surge of determination, Emily rushed to his side, offering an anchor amidst the torrent of fear. "Ryan, it's not real," Emily urged, her voice laced with urgency as she guided him away from the apparition that haunted his vision. Together, they navigated through this dizzying maze of illusions, each offering support when their own fears threatened to overwhelm them. Heather clutched onto Jake's arm tightly, her eyes flickering with a mixture of terror and resilience. In this moment of vulnerability, Jake took a deep breath and locked eyes with Heather, a silent promise that he would protect her against whatever horrors lay ahead. Sarah's fiery spirit remained unyielding even in the face of these supernatural onslaughts. She unleashed her quick wit and sharp tongue in defiance, an unexpected weapon against the malevolent forces seeking to break their spirits. In amidst this pandemonium, small details caught their attention, brief moments of respite from the relentless assault on their senses. Emily noticed a single rosebud peeking out from between decaying leaves, a fragile symbol of hope amidst desolation. Mark's fingers brushed against Sarah's hand, a gesture both subtle and profound that spoke volumes about their unwavering connection amidst chaotic circumstances. In each touch and glance shared between Emily and her friends, there was an unspoken understanding, a tacit agreement that they would stand together until the very end. With each passing second, their determination swelled, the survival instinct burning fiercely within them all. They refused to be broken, to allow themselves to crumble beneath the weight of these manufactured terrors. Emily's voice rang out above the cacophony, "We are stronger than their illusions. We will not succumb." Her words reverberated through the forest, carried on a gust of wind as if declaring a rebellion against this supernatural realm. A flicker of uncertainty crossed Ryan's face, a momentary lapse in courage, but it was swiftly replaced with renewed resolve as Emily locked eyes with him, a silent reminder that they were all in this together. And so they pressed forward with gritted teeth and clenched fists, confronting each nightmare unfurled before them, knowing that surrender was not an option. In this battle fought on ethereal battlegrounds, they summoned strength from places deep within the depths where love resided alongside fear, and forged ahead towards liberation from these malevolent apparitions. As hours turned into moments and moments into seconds, they held tight onto that glimmer of hope, that beacon guiding them towards salvation, inching ever closer towards breaking free from this labyrinthine nightmare. Unbeknownst to them, alliances forged within this crucible would forever shape who they became, but for now they simply embraced survival one step at a time as they confronted spectral phantoms striving to tear them apart. Note: this scene focuses on the characters' resilience in the face of terrifying illusions conjured by vengeful spirits. It highlights small details and interactions that showcase their unwavering determination. Chapter 5: Surviving the Haunting. Scene 3. Pine Ridge Forest quivered with anticipation as Emily and her friends gathered in a small clearing, the final battleground where their fate would be decided. The air crackled with raw energy, sending shivers down their spines, but determination filled their eyes. Emily stepped forward, her voice steady yet infused with unwavering resolve. "We have come too far to let fear consume us now," she declared, her words carrying through the stillness of the forest. Her friends stood shoulder to shoulder beside her, Heather, Jake, Ryan, Sarah, and Mark, all united by an unbreakable bond that had been forged amidst the chaos and terror they had faced together. As they recited ancient incantations learned from Jake's research, an otherworldly force began to ripple through the air, a signal that the vengeful spirits were approaching. Shadows shifted and twisted among the trees as the ringleader of these malevolent entities materialized before them, a visage of pure malice etched into its ghastly features. It exuded an aura of power and vengeance. Heart racing within her chest, Emily locked eyes with the spirit, her gaze unwavering despite the darkness that loomed between them. "Your time here is over," she challenged, her voice resolute. The forest responded to Emily's defiant proclamation, the ground trembling beneath their feet as if rallying behind their cause. Leaves rustled with newfound urgency, a symphony of nature joining their fight against this malevolence. From deep within themselves, Emily and her friends drew upon every ounce of courage they possessed, a collective strength that bound them together even tighter than before. Fear was cast aside as they confronted their deepest insecurities head-on, embracing vulnerability as their greatest weapon against darkness. With each step forward, their presence radiated a blinding light and energy that clashed violently against the vengeful spirit's ethereal forms. Sparks erupted from where their power collided, a brilliant display of willpower versus wrath. As the battle raged on, Emily's heart surged with fierce determination, her eyes blazing like wildfire. With a final surge of strength drawn from unconditional love for her friends and an indomitable spirit, she unleashed a burst of energy that shattered the vengeful spirit's hold on Pine Ridge Forest. In a cacophony of cries and wails, the spirits dissipated into nothingness, whirling remnants carried away on a gust of wind. The forest fell silent once more, tranquil and free from its haunting grip. Exhausted but triumphant, Emily collapsed to her knees, her breath ragged yet filled with relief. Her friends rushed to her side together again in moments of both triumph and vulnerability as they embraced one another tightly, an unspoken celebration of survival against insurmountable odds. As sunlight dappled through verdant canopy overhead, casting a warm glow upon their faces, it became clear that while scars remained from their harrowing journey, they had emerged stronger individually and as a collective unit, forever bonded by shared experiences. In the days that followed, Pine Ridge Forest gradually faded from memory, an elusive specter banished by friendship and indomitable willpower. Yet deep within each member's heart lay gratitude for those who had walked this treacherous path alongside them, an eternal reminder that true strength was found not only in solitude but in unity amidst adversity. And so, life moved on for Emily and her friends with newfound appreciation for love's resilience, a testament to enduring friendships rooted in surviving even the most haunting trials and emerging whole on the other side. Note: this scene concludes the story by depicting Emily and her friends facing off against the ringleader of vengeful spirits. It highlights themes of friendship, inner strength overcoming darkness,